What is magic? Or what is the purpose of magic? Seems like maybe the most basic thing you could ask someone. I mean, we have the word magic, so you could find a definition of what magic is. But also given how we use it in so much of our vocabulary when things are magical or something magical happened to me, we should have a really good understanding of what magic is. And as such, because you guys are so talented in understanding what magic is, an anime like Witch Hat Altair should be pretty light work for you, because essentially the entire season was like this big challenge of how you view magic and what you define magic and the purpose of magic. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have answers. You didn't even need to watch the anime. You know what magic is, right?
Because I'm still waiting for you to click that like button and to subscribe and the post notification button.
Not necessarily. A lot of us are thinking differently about what magic is and the purpose of it than what we thought at the beginning of the anime. Because what this anime challenged us to do is really think about it. Because within the story seems relatively easy. It's about a story about a girl who discovers the world of magic through tragedy. We'll come back to that. But essentially she's on this journey and she's learning about magic. Pretty simple. No, it's not. This anime is really showing us what magic in itself is. I was thinking about this, and this is my own specific definition at this point, but this is what it does. Magic allows you to defy what almost seems to be fated, or allows you to break laws. When you think about moments when you thought about something being magical for you, there's something almost about it that seems like it shouldn't have happened, but it did. When you think about it at that point and it's something positive, you don't worry about it because you know it worked out in your favor. But what if it doesn't work out in your favor? Or what if you really think about the cost of what you got because you got something magical? Then things are a little different. Now, the thing that kind of brought me to this whole perspective and thought of it is actually Obsession. Watching Witch Hat Altair allowed me to appreciate the movie Obsession way more. Because just hear me out. Essentially, they're kind of similar a little bit, but you're going to understand the power of magic through both of them. What happens in terms of Coco? Coco discovers magic, uses it when she wasn't supposed to, something bad happens, and then she goes on a journey to learn about magic. So, you know, it's a good journey, but essentially she needs to go fix something, but she got what she wanted. She's in a world of magic now. Then let's go to the story of Bear. Bear wanted someone to love him, and he made a wish out of desperation or whatever, but he made a wish. His wish came true. Something magical happened. But as a result of his wish, a lot of weird things start happening, and as such, you get a horror movie, which is kind of weird. But essentially, both of these individuals, through something that might be highly questionable, have gotten their wish granted relatively. One wanted to know and be in the world of magic. She got it. Bear wanted a relationship. He got it. But it's not as what they thought it was going to be. And the thing about this is that through Witch Hat Altair, it kind of connects because, again, in the story of Obsession, I'm not gonna like drown you with that story. We get an understanding about what a wish is, to the point that at the end, dudes have to be really specific. I don't want to spoil, but we understood how dark and real magic can be because he just wished that the girl would love him. But we see something else. In terms of this anime, and going back to this anime fully, Coco got what she wanted, and through magic, she's going to be able to achieve her dreams. She's going to be able to achieve what she wanted, but it came at the cost of someone else. If Coco doesn't defy a lot of things that led to that night where she uses magic, things might have been totally different and some people might have not been hurt. And you notice throughout a lot of these characters is that you would think and perceive that gaining magic would make your life so much better. Their lives should be relatively easy. You can create things, you can utilize things. Magic should be this vehicle of happiness and positivity. That is why even most of the time when we think of magical things, we like to think often in a positive light. So being able to affect your fate or alter it should be nothing short of a good experience. And as such, these people shouldn't have problems. But they do. All of them. And they vary. In fact, some of them are even linked because of their ability to utilize magic. And as such, you kind of view magic in a different realm than what you thought it was supposed to be, because you realize what it is. And it's through the individuals who are called the brim caps or the brim hats who show us really the truth of magic. It's ultimately this tool that you use that allows you to break the laws. And if you are not restricted, if you are not held by any sort of law, you can just do whatever you want, but the repercussions of it are darker. And as such, we see them as these villains, but truthfully speaking, they're people who are living their lives in a way where they utilize magic for their sole benefit. So why do you think if you're gonna utilize magic that you're such this, this good entity and you're no different? You aren't. Instead, this anime dives and looks at so many aspects of how magic can be applied and how magic can be viewed depending on that person's perception and how they're utilizing it, and also how it's benefiting their lives. It could benefit other people, but then as we've noted within the stories, there are times when people who have magic do not help people who don't have magic because they have to protect certain things, or they have to do what's in the greater good for them ultimately, or for what they have to follow. Because as we've learned, there's kind of laws and certain things that restrict certain people from using magic for various understandable reasons. We've seen within people in the story that some people get really greedy about people being able to use magic, so they're like, hey, fix this and do this for me. We can get the part where people can easily abuse magic, and realistically speaking, even in our world, if everyone just had magic, they would start abusing magic. We know that. But in terms of this story, we then see situations where people are in need and in danger and really need the assistance of a miracle or something magical, but they're told to not intervene. They're told to step back. They're told to only help in a discreet manner because of the power of what they're doing. And as such, by the end of season 1, your view and your perception of what magic is and the purpose of it alters a lot. Look at every single character and you will realize that their definition and usage for magic within their own personal capacity is so unique to them based on their aspirations and what they want to achieve. It's not solely this thing that is used in a positive light. It is a tool that can be used to make things work in your favor at times. And as such, the view and the perception of magic can be rather dark. If you think about it, if I utilize magic for my benefit, but it results in losses in your life, you're gonna see the way I utilize magic and view magic in a very entirely dark way. But essentially, your view of magic should be really different. And as such, it becomes this really big conversation about how you view magic within your capacity, but also what you think others might view it as. Because I told you at the beginning and as we spoke, just define what the purpose is. In fact, the definition's right there for you. You can go Google it. But for some reason, by the end of the anime, you realize that that's not really the true definition of magic. The definition is individualistic, basically. It's kind of really confusing at times. I think that what this anime did, instead of just giving us this journey or this story about this girl discovering magic and going on this journey and learning certain stuff about magic, is deeper than that. The first season is the perfect introduction for what they're trying to do. They're trying to really challenge us and find out, how do you view magic? What do you see is right and wrong in terms of the world of magic? So that when we go later on in terms of this journey, you can really start thinking a little differently. And what you'll notice also in the anime, those who have broken away from what the definition of magic is, they're the ones who are enjoying it the most, which really makes you think a lot about this whole thing of magic being utilized in a good way. You're using something maybe to kind of defy the odds that would work in your favor, but you're doing it for a good reason, right? Not always. And as such, it becomes this really big conversation that's really fascinating for the audience, but for those who enjoy magic. I said in the last video that this anime does a really good job of trying to approach magic in a way that a lot of people kind of forgot, because it's allowing me to analyze magic in other realms in terms of like using obsession or things like that. I enjoy that. And that's crazy because in the world of anime, sometimes magic is taken for granted. Everyone can just kind of perform a magic trick at this point in most anime. It's kind of really taking you back, and it's kind of interesting because they're using students, but we're learning about magic all over again and really trying to fix our understanding of it through this story. And what a beautiful introduction, because it gets you more excited about what lies ahead, which is pretty cool. Though this was not going to be like some sort of critiquey sort of video, but the one thing that I will say at the end of the season that I did want to note and explain, I do think that this anime struggles with figuring out whether it wants to be like goody two shoes in terms of wholesome or like really dark. There's moments where like really bad things happen, but then the characters are like happy-go-lucky, like, oh yeah, anyway, let's talk about what's happening. And it's like, yo, the villain's still around. Like, why are you guys just yapping about other stuff? I don't know if it's like for a mature audience, but I feel like this anime might be for a younger audience sometimes, where it's like they're almost a little oblivious to some situations. Like with Coco, I found it very conflicting, where sometimes she's like happy-go-lucky about magic, then she remembers, oh yeah, my mom, and then she's sad, and then she goes back to, oh yeah, magic's amazing. There's many times where I was just conflicted by that, and it happens throughout the anime so many times where it's just like, are you guys like really dark and serious, or are you goody two shoes? Like, which side are you picking? That's the most biggest negative that I had. But essentially, this was just me discussing about how this anime really dives into magic and how you think about it.